And the best person.
Okay, we're going to do a check-in call with Mike. No, his name is Mark, the anonymous caller.
Yep.
Remember, he had a property going to auction. He pushed it back. So we're going to do a check-in call with him. Is that okay? Can I just get you to jump in? Give me an extra 2 minutes. Can I get you to jump in on this one, Clinton? Because you were on originally, and he asked you questions around Facebook ad leads. Remember? Did you go with that?
Yeah.
Was that okay, Jet?
Mate,
how was it, mate?
I'm here to serve you.
Mate, no, you're serving all of us, man. Not just me, you're serving all of us. We love you, Jet. Okay. Let's get ready. We're going to give Michael a call. Just make sure you edit that. We're not recording that. So we've got our anonymous caller from the Melbourne market.
So, have you started yet?
No, I'm going to dial him in a second.
So I'm recording. We're good to go.
Yeah, come on here. We've got the video happening.
Yeah, I've got a little bit
All
of
good.
video.
Excellent.
I've got the second camera angle.
Okay, he's ready. Here we go. You ready to jump in here, Clinton?
Good to go.
Come on, man. We've got to bounce. We've got another 2 calls to go. One more call and then we've got Jet. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. So, Matt, do you remember the anonymous caller from Melbourne? A few episodes back. I'm not
Facebook,
sure. Was that
please.
episode 11? What did we call him? Matt or Mark? Can't remember.
Mark.
Is this Mark?
It is.
Mark, the anonymous caller from Melbourne. Hello, how are you, mate?
Freezing.
Well, it's pretty cold here in Sydney as well. Mate, welcome back onto the Mentor Show. You featured in an episode. Jay, what episode was he on? 11?
You might have been 11, yeah.
No, 12. Maybe 11 or 12.
It was actually,
What
it
are we
was
up to
12.
now?
It was 12. Okay, we're up to episode 15. Welcome back.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, so Mark, we had your call, obviously now going back a few weeks. At the time, you had a property that you were selling in the inner city of Melbourne. You had it going to auction. You were struggling to buy buyers. Now, that's a major challenge for a lot of the agents in the marketplace today, is trying to find some buyers for their auctions or just trying to find buyers just in general. But I suppose the question at the time, you were trying to look for some new ideas or strategies that maybe we could help you with, the mentors, Matt and I, and Clinton. Clinton gave you the social media aspect.
Yep.
Matt gave you some ideas about maybe pushing the auction down a couple of weeks. I can't even remember what I gave you advice on. But let me ask you this, Mark. What happened with that property? Give us an update, because now at the Mentors, we are checking in with some of the past callers that have come in through the Mentors
This
podcast.
is our first check-in as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
First
first
check-in.
one.
It's
First one,
exciting.
Finn.
Always the first.
All right, well, I feel privileged. Well, first off, the advice you guys gave me was definitely solid, and I've actually implemented that in some of my other properties that are on the market.
Fabulous.
And had some really responsive vendors to it as well. So, and I think that's the biggest thing. We fight really hard to win the business, and it's important about putting that same effort in to close the deal for these owners.
Oh, totally.
So a lot of that, just revitalising the campaign, switching the strategies up, which is something I've always liked doing. Never thought about pushing auction campaigns out to suit. I've already done that with another property, and that proved to be effective.
Good.
However, with this property, the owners jumped at the idea of revitalising the campaign and some of the changes that we had in mind, but they didn't want to push the campaign date out, which made no sense in changing the campaign up because it was too close.
Yep.
They just were hell-bent on going to auction on that date, convinced, irrespective of the information I was providing them, that somehow the auction was going to provide that miracle cure and a result on the day.
Yes.
Which, as we all know, just didn't quite play out. So the auction resulted exactly how I expected.
So what was that? Did that get passed in, that auction on the day?
Dramatically well.
Okay. So even though you gave them the advice, what Matt suggested, hey, what we should do is to try and re-energise the listing.
Move
Let's
the
push it
auction
out
date.
two weeks back. even though you gave them that advice, they were a bit resistant to that advice. They sort of said,
Yep.
no, let's stick to the original auction date. So they obviously didn't listen to your professional advice, which I call, and then
Yep.
actually the property ended up passing at auction. Tell us what happened since then.
Well, like every campaign, it's like a downward spiral if things aren't adjusted accordingly. So
Yep.
it went on the market at a premium price. Trying to find that needle in a haystack buyer. So inspection numbers completely dropped off.
Yep.
We had that hard conversation. Well, I had hard conversations with them pretty much every week, but I think the realization finally kicked in. Price change adjusted. Got that back out through all the buyers that had been through. From there, we actually saw we saw 3 second inspections within the first week of the price drop.
Yep.
That was a clear indicator to the owners. Okay, well, price was maybe not accurate to begin with, and it's now under offer. So
Excellent.
Fantastic.
yeah,
Good
so
stuff.
we've got a result on it, which is
Woo!
great. Yeah. Definitely.
Love it.
So, but I think the important thing was, especially with like the feedback I had from you guys, is that when I went back to the owners with a different strategy, with a game plan around it, it wasn't just we're going to pass in. It's just how it is. There was a thought process behind what to do next. What should we do to fix it? It was their choice ultimately, whether or not they wanted to take that advice on board prior to auction.
Yep.
But I think doing that actually kind of gave them that added bit of confidence that, well, the agent's on our side
Yes.
and doing everything that they can. So rather than just kind of wiping your hands of it and letting it pass in at auction and hoping that that whole process was going to get them to change their mind.
Fantastic. Now, Mark, can I ask you a question? Clinton at the time gave you some strategic advice around Facebook, and we spoke a little bit about Facebook ad leads, etc. Did you mix it up or do any different strategy with your social media strategy at the time with that property at all since we last spoke?
I did, but the challenge was, the whole idea around it was to revitalise the campaign as well and retarget a more accurate audience, I suppose is the best way to put it.
Yeah, because I think we're talking about more like teenage kids for that property.
Yeah, families with teenagers,
correct.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it ended up being a couple with no kids, so I didn't get a chance to implement it properly on that because we couldn't revitalise the campaign.
Because they were just fixated on going to auction that week and not to make
that
any
was
changes.
it. Yeah, it was. They were convinced that the auction was going to be their Hail Mary. So
yep, beautiful.
But that's fine. I mean, like, we all experience that,
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, I think in this market, right, because many agents are facing the same challenges, right? Where
totally.
Matt and Clinton, like they're not getting results. They're leading up to an auction campaign. There may not be any buyers. I think the best thing you can do is just continue to offer fresh ideas or fresh strategies. Would you agree, Clinton?
100%. So we went out a couple of weeks ago on a Saturday and we were filming 3 different auctions. Every single one passed in.
Wow.
What was good about the story, though, is like in a market like this, every agent had a positive approach to it, where they've then turned around and said, you know what, it's okay, now the work begins.
Yeah.
The work up to that point had happened, but
Yes.
now we've really got to work hard to try and find those buyers, go back to, the interested parties and, go back to our database and whatever it may be. I know for a fact that 2 out of those 3 have already sold.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I don't think we're hearing enough of those stories in the marketplace, and it's a very good opportunity to take and document what's actually happening and turn that into a positive story.
Yes.
So what you could potentially do once this has been sold is you could go back and ask for a testimonial, film it, get the story on it, push it out there and let people know that just because you've gone to auction on a property doesn't necessarily mean that it will sell at auction, but here is a positive outcome because of the work that we put in.
Yep. Yeah, and documenting that through social media. Like to see the end result.
100%. Because the thing is, people are consuming more video now than anything else. Actually, no, sorry, I take that back. There's more audio being consumed and streamed online in 2018 than video now.
Really?
Right.
What we're doing?
Exactly, 100%. So, but second to that, which is massive, is video.
Yep.
right?
Huge.
That doesn't then stop you though from also having a photo and documenting what you're up to here and there. So every time, you're listing and selling a property, or if you have a happy buyer, you're getting photos and you're documenting what you're actually up to. The good thing about this scenario is how can you take that and turn it into a positive story that will help the next buyer or the next seller that you work with.
That's a really good
Great.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that, Mark?
Yeah, I got that.
So-
Definitely. That's it. Just leverage off every result.
Exactly, because especially in this market, people just see,
Yeah.
it got passed in at auction, and they think,
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
it hasn't gone anywhere. They might see a sold sticker maybe 3 weeks later.
Yep.
But generally, if you're not documenting it out there, like what you've sold it after auction, people are just going to be like a little bit going, did that place sell? Did it go anywhere, etc. So
Totally.
I think documenting, like you're saying, especially on a video level, is super, super powerful.
We had the coolest thing happen, right? Where last weekend I was in an auction, and
Mate, are you an agent on a Saturday wearing
No.
a suit?
I think you need to jump the fence, Clinton.
mate,
Throw the video camera out the window into Bondi Beach. There you go.
Exactly.
I
And
thought
I think
about it. The money's good.
you're making a lot of sense. I'm telling you, as a coach, you think
exactly.
maybe we'll take the cameras up clouds.
The crazy thing about it, right? This auctioneer comes to the auction to do it. We had 4 registered bidders at this auction. Not one single person bid.
Really?
Not one. The auctioneer absolutely dived, like it was just crickets. And we filmed the whole thing, right? So we had this and we were like, what are we going to do with this piece of content? I get a phone call from the agent yesterday and they're like, hey, we've just exchanged on the property. 6 days later, I want you to come out and meet me in the morning and let's film it. So we did. We went this morning, we filmed it. We're going to get that piece of content back to him today.
Yeah.
And he's going to launch it before he goes to auctions tomorrow. But there's a cool story around, here's the actual auction, like in real life, this happened.
Yeah.
Here's everything we've done after and the result that we got. And
Was it one of the buyers from the auction that turned up?
funnily enough, no.
No.
All
really?
of them put offers in.
Yep.
None of them were where they needed it to be, but through the additional work they did, where they were really, really pushing to get people through to review to see the property again, they found somebody who...
That's outstanding.
Yeah, they found the right person. So it was a great story about hard work, teamwork, educating the market on, hey, just because we go to auction doesn't necessarily guarantee the best result in this market.
Yes.
But here's what we've done.
Amazing.
Good story.
Amazing.
So that's the reason why I mentioned it, because, mate, you've got a very interesting story right now where you can talk about what you've done through this whole process and then have, hopefully, a very happy seller that you can add to that.
Exactly. Because a lot of times we just see videos where it's always this
I know.
successful auction,
Yeah.
everyone's happy. But you know what? I think you need to document what's actually happening out there and then still bring a beautiful finish to it if you
Totally.
sell the property.
It's always
at the end.
been no different, guys. There's 3 times you can sell a property, isn't there? There's before auction, at auction, or after auction.
That's it.
You've got
Exactly.
3 opportunities all the way.
Exactly right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mark, anything else? Obviously, it was great to check in. The great news is you've actually now sold that property or is under contract, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, under contract. We'll see how we go by close of business today. So knock on wood.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll be calling you next week.
I'll give you Matt's personal number. You can ring him direct.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, thanks so much for being on the show again and give us an update because it really means a lot. Even though sometimes we give advice and doesn't always get implemented, and that's not your fault or your own. Obviously, you have gone out there and tried, but sometimes just planting that seed of thought of action to the
That's it.
vendors,
Yep.
that sometimes they know that you're looking at other different strategies, can cause an effect for them to maybe make that sale across the line.
Totally. Send us a text and let us know if it's gone unconditional.
Good man. Mark,
Yeah, we'll
See
do.
ya.
thank you, mate. Enjoy your
Awesome.
weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
You too.
Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Got something great from this episode? It would mean the world to us if you passed it on. Tune in each week as we mentor a new agent. Have a question? Want to be on the show? Get in touch with Claudio Encina, Matt Lahood, or visit our Facebook page. The Mentors is brought to you by Sprinkler.media.